The fishing news is brought to you by Interlux Marine Paint and also brought to you by Maxima Fishing Line.
Hey there, Toby Lapinski for the New England edition of the Fisherman magazine with this week's web video fishing forecast for New England. Going to start things off today with a few events going on this weekend that might interest you. First up is the annual Zobo Winter Flounder Derby presented by Fishing Finatics on Saturday. It's a great tournament and it really bums me out that I cannot attend this year as I had a great time fishing with Pete Santini and his crew last year. But if you don't have any plans, I urge you to sign up and participate as the flounder bite is absolutely amazing right now in and around Boston Harbor. You can check out the card at the upper right hand corner of this video at this time for details on the tournament. And next up we have a huge on-water kayak and stand-up paddleboard demo this weekend at Black Hall Outfitters in Old Lyme on both Saturday and Sunday. They'll have factory reps and instructors on hand from a variety of companies representing both kayaks and stand-up paddleboard companies. They'll have ongoing demos, live music, raffles, and more throughout the weekend. You get all the details on our website through the card that is at the upper right-hand corner of the screen right now. Alright, moving on into the report. We're going to start off, as always, in Connecticut. Well, while the striper bite is still worth noting, both out in the Sound as well as up the rivers, the really big news right now is the bottom fishing out in the Sound. First up, black sea bass in the middle to western waters, say from about Clinton west, has been very good. And Captain TJ, a rock and roll charter, sent me some pictures of an absolute boatload of sea bass that he put his clients onto this week. I also heard from several other contacts that the waters right off of Clinton have been very good, with many limits of catches being reported. And then from Captain Greg of the Blackhawk, it sounds like the porcupine out in the Sound is breaking wide open. They had limits all around the boat this week, and then with the opener of fluke season in both Connecticut and New York waters on Tuesday the 17th, they doubled up for the day and had some solid catches of fluke to top off the coolers. Alright, moving on into Rhode Island, I'm getting reports of some good catches of small schoolie bass on up to about 30 inches or so along much of South County. Breachways have been productive, and even some bluefish have begun to add into the mix and tear into anglers' gear already. And fluke fishing is starting to gain some solid ground this past week as well, with much better reports coming in from both the party boats as well as the private anglers. The fish are still really spread out from Block Island on over to the mainland, but the larger fish are still primarily being reported off the island, like the solid catch that Mike Wade of Watch Hill Outfitters put together out there recently. Then on up into Massachusetts, the crew from Dick's out on the vineyard checked in to report some very good black fishing now around the island, and to support this, they weighed in a solid 10.8 pounder. While the vineyard isn't traditionally known as a blackfish hotspot, some really good catches are regularly made out there. And lastly, I got word of the first good-sized striped bass from the canal this week as Gervasio Santos jigged up a fat 42-inch bass from the ditch. Now we should hear of some consistent catches of somewhat larger fish in the next week or so before it blows wide open for the new moon in June. Well, there you have it. I'm Toby Lapinski for the New England edition of the Fisherman magazine, wishing you tight lines if you head out onto the water this weekend.
The fishing news is brought to you by Interlux Marine Paint and also brought to you by Maxima Fishing Line.